Hi there, this is Dave Kettlewell, and continuing with our series on restoring an 1883 Steinway grand piano Model A. What we're going to do now is just take a look at three components off the piano that we'll be working with quite a bit on this project, and I just want to see what is the general condition of these parts and what might have to be done. So we have the, as you know, this would be the bed, the key bed. That'll all be rebuilt with new felt. But let's come over and take off one of these Hammershanks. Now, you can see from a close-up, you've got the part here, that's like the hammer felt up here, and then this is a hammer shank, and that's a joint there, and then this is where it screws on. So to get these on and off, it's pretty easy, but I'm going to tell you that do not take off more than one at a time, because it's real easy to get mixed up about what's going on. So you unscrew them, okay? And take the screw and put it back in, okay? So you don't lose it. And now, let's come get this one out here. Now we're gonna come down and go and unscrew. Let's come in here tighter. Okay, now these are the Wippens, okay? And of course, the capstan at the bottom of the key stick, okay? These lie on the key bed there. That capstan, that metal thing, presses down here on a piece of felt, and it makes this jack come up, and that hits this knuckle and makes the key go up. That's how piano works. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this one off here. We just unscrew it like that. Pretty easy, huh? Always put the hammers up so they're out of your way. And we're going to go ahead and just take this Wippen out. And again, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put this screw back in. You'd be surprised how easy it is to start losing parts. Now we're going to come over and we're just going to do a real basic review of what we got going on with these to see what kind of situation we're in, how bad this stuff is, what it's going to need. Well, let's start with the key stick. First of all, I think this unit's been through 2 rounds of restoration already in its life. It's been 137 years. So, I mean, I know that it came with ivory keys, and this is covered in plastic here, the more modern plastic keys. So I think that got worked on. It looks like it's had more balancing done with leads added, and that would be different. If I take a look here, this is a center pin felts here, balance rail felts, and sometimes you can hit them with goop and bring them back, but these are hard as rocks and worn badly, so I'll be replacing those. That is not a real difficult job. The condition at the lower part of the stick is pretty good. This is another one of the key felts here, and those are shot too. I can tell this whole piano needs to be refelted here. This piece of felt here, I'm not going to restore it, I'll replace it. The back check can be rehabbed, and the wood, of course, can be made to look better. So those are okay. The Wippen. To test the Wippen, I usually take the spring out like that, just so I can see how easily does it articulate. And this is the repetition right here. It's working pretty good. The springs are actually in pretty good condition considering the age. And I'd say that these felts aren't terrible either, but I'm going to replace them. They're all very old and very hard, including this one and that one and that one and that one. Now, the leather here looks pretty good. I think we'll be okay. The whipping itself, is okay. Now, down here, this is, the part here that lifts up off the capstan. These can either be replaced or they can actually be rebuilt by running wool yarn through them with a needle carefully and rebuilding them a little bit, which in some ways is superior, because if I put new felt on here, it's going to be squishing for quite a while and it'll go down at least 0.5 millimeter, and that means I have to re-regulate the piano over and over. I don't see any signs of verdigris, which is that green stuff, mold. The spring's a little bent, but that's just because somebody's been adjusting it. These are certainly not the worst Wippens I've ever seen. I think they look pretty good, and we'll be getting into how to do them, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now here's, we've got a hammer shank here with the hammer, and then we've got this, and that looks pretty good. Let's see here. 1, 2. It's a little tight in here, but I know how to loosen that up. And this is the knuckle here, and that certainly is, it's quite dry, but I'm not against dry knuckles because they slide nicely on the jack. I think I can reshape these and reuse them, but man, they are old. They still have some buoyancy in them though. You'd be surprised what you can do to bring these suckers back. So I would say, and as far as the hammer itself, I've kind of been surprised at the condition of these. I'm guessing they had to be replaced somewhere along the line. By the time this is totally cleaned up, it'll look real nice. So I'd say, really, these are looking pretty good, and so I think I'm pretty fortunate. I could reuse those felts, but I don't know. I think while you got them apart, like these ones here, they're just not felt anymore. They're just compressed stuff. So these look okay. I think that was replaced. The others were not. It's not that big a deal. So we'll get into pretty soon here how to restore all these things. And I think I can just show you quickly what I use. You don't want to sand anything. I get these brush detailing sets that are $1, and they come with a steel brush and a brass brush and a plastic one, and I'll use mostly the brass brush, like this, to simply clean up the wood a little bit. It's a messy thing. I wear some protection for breathing when I'm doing it. These things will just polish out with, you can use any kind of, like a metal polish. I would warn you, I wouldn't take these out because you're wearing, these are old. This is 137 years old. You do not want to damage those threads in that wood at all. I mean, you're lucky to be able to turn this. So I would say clean them up while they're in here, but I'll go into how to do that. I usually mask this stuff off. You don't want to get cleaning compounds on your wood keys. But so that's kind of, I'm fortunate. This is looking pretty good compared to what it could be.